Rose of old Japan, I'm coming back to you. There in old Japan, you'll make my dreams come true.
And welcome back to the Nihon Madoguchi Podcast with your host Domo and
Marty, what's up, what's up? 久しぶりですね、どうも。How have you been?
Isashiburi indeed. I've been good. It's today has been quite hectic, but these past couple weeks this has been relatively chill,
Nice.
so to speak. We just had Golden Week, so that was a nice little break from work and whatnot.
This year was
How
quite a
about you?
long. Everything is fine. Here in Nice, the life is always very much the same. We have the nice sun, nice weather, but that's everything else. It's very, very usually the same. There's not much happening in here. I was looking at the Golden Week. This year was quite a long Golden Week, wasn't it? Like some people were able to take like 15 days off or something. If you manage to put your holidays in a like smart way. But did you?
I mean,
How long did you stay home, Domo?
uh, only 10 days. So I mean, if you have enough, Ninkyu, 15 days could have been possible. Yeah. I don't know if it would have been feasible. I do have some work that I do have to get done, but aside from that, I mean, to really have gotten the 15 days, I may have had to have used one, two, three,
6
about 6
days.
days of Ninkyu
Yes, six
because it was
days.
it was
Yes.
quite weird how it was broken up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't want to use 6 days. I just used three and just got the 10, 11, something like that. It was nice. I spent all that time with the girlfriend, so that was good.
Excellent.
Got to I stayed at her place. Yeah, I stayed at her place. So I for the almost the entire time, I think. So it was kind of like a trial run of what it would like to live together. It was quite enjoyable.
Right. So were you able to fit into the everyday life of a Japanese household, or did you find anything that was weird or like something that may have been different from what you? I mean, America is quite big, so I suppose that even within America you have a lot of different like habits or way of living or way of using your toothbrush. Let's say something stupid. But did you fit well, or did you think that there was
Sure.
something that was a little bit puzzling at first?
So it wasn't that bad. The only thing that I can say was not difficult or challenging was my girlfriend specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever she starts to clean, she gets into a like a into a mode where like if you get in her way, you're it's gonna be some issues. And so I learned to try to stay out of her way, but also like help her because like when she's like vacuuming or something, she'll come to places where there's like something in the way. I like move it out the way. And she gets it, boom, put it back, move it out. Just help her along the way. But even that sometimes was I don't want to say insufficient. It was she would be like, it's okay, I got it. She would want to take it into her own hands. So towards the end of the week, I just realized I should just go sit go sit somewhere, like go sit on the stairs
And
while she's
stay put.
vacuuming. And then when she finishes that area, yeah, I'll go to that area and sit there while she goes vacuum another area. And that's worked. That's worked so far. Now, uh, we've also learned to. I don't even say learn. It's I've taken the initiative to do the dishes and do the laundry and things like that. Because I unlike a certain someone here, don't really cook. I don't
Not
I don't
yet,
do a lot
not
of
yet.
cooking. So she did a lot of the cooking during Golden Week. I say a lot. She did all of the cooking during Golden Week, and I would do all the dishes, and also do the laundry. Like she has to do the laundry for what, 3 people every day. She does laundry every day. That's also a new thing, a different thing.
Right.
We don't do the laundry every day in America. At least we didn't. Like my household. There might
Right.
be people who do, but doing laundry every day is insane to me.
I
I don't
agree. I agree.
I
But
don't know.
I would have said that in Europe we don't do laundry every day, but recently we have a little bit of an issue with our upstairs neighbor. So apparently he does laundry 3 times a day. It's I don't know. That's something we I don't know. They may have some issues like I have no idea how is it possible to clean your clothes 3 times a day. So I would have said until coming here in France, I would have said that in Europe we generally don't do a laundry every day, unless you're a big household. Let's say that you have like 4 or 5 people in the family, then you
Yeah.
things can get out of hand pretty fast. But yes, that's something I noticed that there is more of a tendency to do more, laundry more frequently in Japan. Maybe something due to, in summer, I would understand. I usually also did laundry every day because we're even as a couple, like your t-shirt like gets wet from your sweat or your perspiration very, very fast.
Yeah, yeah.
So yes, we had to clean things more often. But yeah, generally speaking, they tend to do the laundry way often, I feel.
Right, right, right. No, it's I think yeah, it's probably a family thing.
Mm,
When you have, you know, kids and, a spouse where every day they come in, take off their work clothes or their school uniforms, you gotta do the laundry. And honestly, now that I'm thinking, no, I was gonna say now that I'm thinking about it, I was like maybe my mom did do the laundry and I just didn't notice it, but no, I don't think she did. Like there was a certain point where like in our life where she made us start doing our own laundry. Where she
right,
stopped doing our laundry for us. And she was like, well, you guys, you're old enough, do your own laundry. Uh and so after a certain point, it was just like, okay, I'm gonna do my own laundry. And I don't. I wear one pair of clothes a day, especially if I'm like going to school and it's just a school uniform or
right.
whatever. And so I wash my clothes once a week, just kind of like what I do now. I wash my clothes once a week. Now, getting them folded is a different story, but but washing clothes every day was a new experience,
Right.
and because of that, uh, something I've come to realize is, you know, doing this, living together trial run, was I don't mind folding other people's clothes. Uh, I don't like folding my clothes, but I've
Right.
noticed, and there might be an element of I want to like lessen the burden of my girlfriend. I don't, she's cooking, and cleaning as well. I can at least I could do is do the dishes and fold the clothes. There's that element as well, but she'll be like, "Oh no, it's okay. You can do it later. It's fine," or I'll do it later or something like that. And I'm like, "No, I got it. Don't worry about it. Fold the clothes, and boom." I will say, however, I don't mind folding the clothes. Yes, I don't mind doing the dishes. Yes, but Ediko, my girlfriend, she and this might be a Japanese thing, I don't know. Every time I've done those things, she said thank you.
Ah,
She
yes.
showed gratitude,
Very
right? Like
important.
every
Yes.
time, like
Mm-hmm.
without fail, I finished the dishes. Oh, arigato, man.
Mm-hmm.
I finished folding the oh, arigato, man. And that makes me happy, right?
Nice.
She acknowledges that I'm trying to go out of my way to help, and make sure things are done and clean and, folded up. And she, appreciates that. And she expresses that with her words, and that makes me feel happy. And it's now I haven't explicitly told her that, but because she just naturally does it.
Right.
But whenever the thank you stop, we'll have to have a talk. Like I feel that showing gratitude is a good way to keep those keep your partner happy.
Yes.
So expressing your arigatos and your I appreciate that, and thank you for doing this, thank you for doing that. Vice versa, I do the same. Like whenever she cooks, obviously in Japanese they say itadakimasu.
Right.
So before you eat the meal, and you say gochusou deshita after you finish the meal, which is like thank you for the meal. Both like thank you for the meal and thank you for the meal. Like it loosely translated, both of them. Yeah. And but even after that, I'm like, arigato oishikatta ne.
Right.
Get itadakimasu gochusou deshita are something that you like. They're just you say them like
Yes.
you're expected to say those things. They don't really mean much on their own. And like they are manners. If you want to be reigi tadashi, you should say those things. Itadakimasu gochusou deshita. I'm saying that weird. Gochusou deshita. Ooh. But that's the bare minimum. That's expected of you. You should say those things. Go even further and be like arigato. Mecha oishikatta. Yokatta.
Right.
You made my favorite dish today. Arigato, man. Mecha oishikatta. So if you've learned nothing from our podcast, take this lesson away. Show your gratitude to your partner.
I mean, I would say beyond just your partner, just show your gratitudes in general. I don't know about the US. I feel like in Europe we have we kind of shy away from being thankful to each other. I mean, probably in Japan it is also more systematic. Let's say something very basic, but when you step into a shop, you're greeted. When you do a purchase, it's very standardized, so it's not like every clerk will really think, thank you for coming in my shop today. It's not something that they put much passion in it. But the fact that you are greeted when you step into a shop or when you do some purchase, you are also thanked for this. Or when you step into a restaurant and you leave the restaurant, or every kind of interaction where some, let's say, thanks are to be shared, they usually are shared more. They don't have this complex toward thank you. Whether in Europe, I feel like even in the family, I mean, of course, every household is different. Every family has its own tradition and its own dynamics. But I feel like being thankful and showing appreciation for other people's work, attitude, or whatever, it's not as rooted, or we think it, but we don't say it, we don't share it, which is quite a lesson that we should or we could take from Japan, to be more thankful, be for sharing more. I mean, not being more thankful, but sharing it more, especially as you said in the couple. Being thankful in the couple, it's a small thing that builds up in time. So whenever you say thank you to other people, especially in the couple, it's kind of doing a gratuitous good thing for your partner, which is always appreciated. So be thankful.
No, that's exactly right. I couldn't have said it better myself. That's obviously not just to your partner, but to anyone you meet. Being nice, being thankful, showing your appreciation, being grateful. For things that people do for you, and vice versa. So and I had something I wanted to say. I have to remember. See if I can remember it. Oh no. You said be thankful, and then
The shop thing. Well, when you step into, I guess
you
it was.
You say you step into you step into a shop.
And we are
And
greeted by the
then
clerics. いらっしゃいませってことね。はい。
I remember. So so a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of arguments that happen between couples and not even couples, like people in general, tend to come from obviously misunderstandings, but kind of like differences in perspective.
Yes.
Like for example, say some phenomena. I don't something happens.
Right.
Two people see that thing happen, but they can have two different perspectives. Like you can ask one person what happened and the other person what happened, and it might be kind of the same, but there'll definitely be some differences between what this person saw and what this person saw, even though it was the same thing. And that can be super true in relationships,
Right.
especially because you could say something to your partner or do something that you thought was totally harmless, but that other person is thought you were being spiteful or mean, or you were trying to hurt them. You're like, I didn't have those intentions at all. And but that's how they took it. That's how they perceived your actions or your words.
Right.
And a lot of people, like it stops there. A lot of people stop there. Like you did something, that person got mad, and then you get mad, and then you argue.
Right.
Rather, you do something, that person gets mad, and then you're like, oh, sorry. First of all, this is what my intentions were. This is what I meant by it.
Right.
And, sorry that it made you, feel this way. Again, those were not my intent. My intentions were this. This is what happened. And try to talk it out from there. Obviously, it won't go that smoothly. Like, you can explain all you want. They're still upset. Their feelings were hurt or whatever. But I think kind of explaining, like communicating, what your perspective of what happened was. This thing happened. This is what I was trying to do. This is how I perceived the situation. I thought we were good. You perceived it in a different way. You're upset. Okay. Apologize, obviously, because that person is hurt. Their feelings are real.
Right.
And then try to talk it out. Communication.
Yeah,
Communication
very important.
is key. They say that it sounds corny. It sounds cliche, but it's true.
I often say, and I really think that if it is done in an educated and in how do you want to say, not too emotional way, a fight, an argument in a couple is a very healthy thing to happen, especially at the beginning.
Yes.
The reason being that, I mean, of course, we are not generalizing. There are some unhealthy couples that they are not a good match for each other and they show quits each other. We're talking about like healthy couple that don't have any issues.
Yeah.
Of course, if there is some violence in the couple, or if there is like a very one-sided pressure or one-sided argument. So with all these aside, let's say a healthy couple, in a healthy couple without any form of weird relationship in place, I think that an argument is a very healthy thing to happen. The reason being that it is the most direct way to understand each other values, each other, let's say, what you think personally is something of importance, and maybe the other person, the other member of the couple, has not the same value or does not value that particular thing the same way. And when you have this mismatch of values with this mismatch of attitudes, that's when you get the argument. And if you're able to talk it through, as you said, communication is very important. When you are able to talk it through and to understand each other, when you actively, both of them actively try to make the step to try to understand each other. So we had this argument, okay, put that aside. Of course, once you're back to normal, when you're having the arguments, it's difficult to say stop. You have to think. Me myself, I'm not able to do that neither. So it's not healthy to stop it right away. But once
Yeah.
the argument is over, it gives you a very interesting and a very useful occasion to think about what are your values, what are your partner's value, and also how to find a middle ground between those two values as to not let the argument happen again. So it is, I believe, an occasion for the couple to grow, to get more consolidated, to get more close together. And at the same time, I feel like for international couples, let aside Japan and Europe or Japan and the US, when you have two people from different country, it may be a tricky path to say that the argument happened because of cultural differences. That is something that you may tend to say. Sometimes I want to blame it on cultural differences. But if you break it down, cultural differences are simply differences in values. So if you always use the scapegoat of like our culture is different, so we will never be able to understand each other or something like that, then you will never have the occasion to go beyond that issue. It will always come back as an issue, not only in the couple, in the relation as a whole, let's say friendship relations or like work relations. So of course this goes beyond only the couple thing, but blaming everything on the cultural differences may be easy, and maybe it's true, there is some truth to it, but at the same time, if you just leave it there, then nothing will grow up. I mean, then nothing will grow out of that. So yes, that is
Yeah.
my consideration. It's not an advice, it's just a consideration based on previous experiences.
Yeah. No, no. I mean, I think as two men who are in international relationships, you being a married man to a Japanese woman, me having a Japanese girlfriend, I think we may have some insights, into
Right.
what it's like, dating someone from another culture, um, and it's not like we also been dating, married for
Right.
years at this point, right?
Yes.
We've been married for almost 3 years now, I guess.
Not we, I. We are not getting married
No,
soon.
he
Me
Monty has
this
been
side.
married. He's been married for
3 years,
three
yeah, yeah,
years,
three
if
years
I'm not
now.
mistaken.
But we dated for
And so
7, so I mean, we dated for 4, we married for 3, so whole thing combined, it's already 7 years. 1/4 of my life, yes.
I was like, you dated for 7 years?
No, 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 no.
I was like,
さすがに
some of the numbers are
no, no, no. They don't match
some
up.
of the
They
numbers are
don't.
not enough.
They don't. No, 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 no. Dated for
You
4
want
and
something to
then
tell me,
married for
Marty?
3. 合わせて
Okay,
7
okay.
年間ですね。
わかりました、わかりました。No, yeah. So as you know, and I've been married to not married. Goodness gracious, I've been
You're burning steps
I've been
already.
dating my current girlfriend. I've been dating my current girlfriend for 2.5, almost 3 years now. 3 years in August.
Right.
Uh, and I had a previous one as well for X amount of years. Who was also Japanese, and so another which both women vastly different, people, and so it's been a different kind of experience, uh, dating both of them, and as Marty was saying, cultural differences, it can happen, right? You are two totally different people from two totally
Right.
different cultures, born in two totally different countries. Sure, yeah, it can happen, but putting it solely on, like blaming, your problems on cultural differences, yeah, is not advisable. I do not
Not
advise
really.
you do that, and should always communicate, 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 because um, how else are you going to overcome the differences,
Right.
right? I sleep. This is not. I don't know if this is really a cultural thing. This is a me thing.
Probably
I
yes.
sleep with my socks on. I sleep with
That's
my
weird.
socks.
That's weird.
All right. Yeah. Hey.
I would
sleep with
die.
my socks
I
on.
wouldn't. I wouldn't. I couldn't do that.
There you go. Most people don't. Most
Right.
people don't sleep with the socks on, and my girlfriend is one of those people.
Right.
I'm probably in the minority of people who
Probably
sleep with
yes.
socks on.
Probably
Now,
yes.
if you ask me why, it's strictly a comfort and sensation thing. So
Mm.
my toenails, when they scratch against the cover, I hate that.
Right.
When they not just the cover, when they scratch against anything, the bed, the sheet, that scraping, ooh, it gets to me, and it's kind of like reminiscent of the
Yes.
thing, like
On
dragging your
the
legs across the
blackboard.
chalkboard.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's kind of like that, but for my feet. Yeah, so I have to cover them up
Makes
to keep
sense.
them from touching anything. And now I say that because Eddie Cole, she doesn't wear socks, and she actually she would hate it. She hates it. She's like, I would never wear socks.
Right.
She's like, why do you wear socks? No, I don't think she particularly cares like that I wear socks. It's never been an argument, but it has been a conversation where it's like you wear socks and you sleep. What's up with that? And I'm like, I mean, I just
Right. You do.
I just wear socks. I
Right.
explained to her the same thing I just explained to you guys. But I've noticed, especially in this past week, whenever we're like sleeping together, when it's hot out, when it's like summertime,
Right.
I do this weird thing. So I have my socks on, right? Then you get hot.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
So
what I was
you do,
about
like,
to ask you.
You stick like one leg out of your cover
Yeah.
and one leg in to like get cool, right?
Right.
So what I like to do is I take off the sock, but halfway. I only take the sock off. It's like half, like my heel, the kakato is
Yeah.
out. I don't.
Right.
I was gonna show you guys the grippers. I'm not gonna.
So the thing is that you have to keep your toes covered at any point in time. That's your thing.
The toes. Yeah, the toes is the issue. So I take off the bottom half of the socks, and it's just right. But whenever I'm sleeping with Eddie Co, I've noticed, and it might be her blankets. She has some very, very soft blankets. In the sense that, like, when my toenails scratch, against them, it doesn't really feel like anything, right? It's just like
right.
It's very soft, right? So I've been recently, socks off when I'm with her at her place. My place, it's just my cover.
Maybe the issue is that you've been using cheap blankets all your life. That's maybe what's causing everything.
I think you're right. I've slowly started to uncover that maybe it's the blanket, maybe it's the cover, and not particularly me, but
not the mine.
It was quite nice, I mean, sleeping without the socks and
right,
kind of rubbing them against it was now. I was like, oh, I don't have to worry about it, because like my cover here, the one that I use here in my house, I have to put socks on.
Right. It's still a cheap one. You have to buy premium blankets.
Yeah, the blanket that she bought, I think, was quite pricey, if I'm not mistaken. So,
so maybe that's the.
I've learned a lesson here.
Right.
All these years I've been on running, using cheap blankets.
Right.
But it was just the material that I needed. Now, I will say in the winter, though, whether it's the material or not, my feet get cold. I like to wear socks.
So you want to keep them, yes.
But it's yeah. Aside from that, yeah, that's another thing that I've realized in this week. So many revelations.
So many, so much
Into
growing
this
up. So
so much so.
coming back to what we were discussing previously, I think this episode will be focused on like interpersonal. We had a different plans for this episode, but I think we will keep them for the next episode. Because
Interesting.
actually, I wanted to ask you. I was quite curious. What is your stance? What is your feeling, or let's say, how do you receive? How do you? What's your stance? Let's say, let's keep it simple. What's your stance regarding
Yeah,
the very Japanese concept of kuki wo yomu? So kuki o yomu is basically getting a sense of what is happening without anyone saying anything. It is a
yeah,
very Japanese thing, at least so far as all the other cultures that I know of. For example, in Italy, when there is something, we have to bring it up at any cost. If you don't say it, it doesn't exist. Kind of rule of thumb. So it is very much the exact opposite of Kuki Oyomu. So I was asking. I wanted to ask you what are your feelings about this, because I have mixed feelings about this. I think it is a very beautiful concept that everyone should learn, but at the same time, I feel like sometimes it comes in as a little bit of an excuse for people to just. I mean, you were not able to read the air properly, so it's on you. It's a you thing. But yes, before I share my feelings, what are your feelings, Dom, about this kind
yeah.
of concept, very Japanese concept?
So, obviously we have the term "read the room" in English,
Right,
and I wouldn't say it's a super prevalent, cultural aspect, in America, like like a cultural point in America. However, it is something you hear from time to time, where it's like like say someone's mother died,
right.
and
Very
you know
extreme occasion, you would say.
someone's mother died, and they just told everyone, and they're crying, and you crack a joke, and everyone's like, "Dude, read the room." Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. And that's just more about having situational awareness. That this was not the time to crack a joke.
Right,
Um, but like you said, the Japanese kukyo yomu, like for that, it's under everyone understands. Someone just died. Okay,
right,
let's chill out. It's very easy to understand. For Japanese kukyo-yomu, it's not always that easy to understand what we're yomuing. What are we reading here? What kuki are we reading?
right,
So I, like you said, actually, how I feel about it. I mean, it's necessary. Being able to read the room, according to situations. I do it all the time. Even before coming to Japan. You know,
right,
I'm despite how I may seem on the podcast, I'm more on the introverted side of things
right.
rather than extroverted. It's a spectrum. You're
Mm-hmm.
not really one or the other. I can be extroverted, but I'm more introverted overall, and especially in situations where I don't know people, or it's just a bunch of random people I've never seen, or even at work, sometimes. But uh, and I just try to I try to get a feel for what's going on. Like what were we talking about? What's the situation?
Right,
I'm reading the room. I'm trying to figure out what's happening. We do it all the time. I feel like I'm not the only one who does that. Uh, However, I've noticed in Japan, I do the same thing here in Japan. Sometimes I can't grasp, I can't yomu. I'm trying
right,
to yomu, but I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to figure out what it is in Japanese. In not Japanese the language, yes,
yes,
but Japan as well is a high context culture,
very,
and high
yes,
contextual language. Well, there's a lot of things just omitted because you're supposed to understand. You're supposed to just get it from the context. Uh, and if you're not from a high context culture like Japan, it's gonna be tough, and that extends into the Kukio Yomu because some things won't be said, but you're supposed to understand what's happening and
Right.
why it's happening, and not bring it up, or whatever the situation calls for.
Right.
So I think it is necessary having situational awareness, right? Like baseline, you need to have situational awareness so you don't seem socially inept, right?
Right.
Socially incompetent. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
But Japan's on another level, right? I think
It's
a lot
like
of the Japanese
situational
concepts,
awareness on
yeah.
steroid kind of thing.
No, exactly. So it's like a lot of the like concepts that we talk about here,
Yes.
and we've talked about before. You'll hear when you study Japanese and come to Japan. It's not like we don't have them elsewhere, right? Even Honen Tatemane, we have in your public facing, your
Yes.
what you
Yes, we
show to your
do.
colleagues and your whatever, and then the face you show to your friends. Yeah, we have that, but we don't have a name for it. It's not something that it's ingrained into our culture like it is in Japan.
Right.
We have an uchi and a soto. You have your close friends and then you have your acquaintances. Yeah, we have that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a name for it. I mean, we just have close friends and acquaintances. Japanese just takes things to another level and they label it.
Yes.
We have this thing and it's a part of our culture. They've acknowledged it as a part of their culture, whereas it's just a thing that we do from time to time. When it's necessary. So
Right.
um, so again, like so, sum it all up. It's necessary. We need some Kukio Yomu baseline, but if you want to survive in Japan, you might need a little bit more than that.
Put some work
And
on.
I don't particularly. I don't know if it's something you can agree with. It's a
Right.
cultural concept, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you really need to go that far. Essentially,
Right.
that
Mm-hmm.
going so the situational awareness on steroids. We don't need this. This is fine.
Right.
Being able to just read the room at a basic level is okay. You can get by with just that.
Right. I agree. I pretty much agree. I think like being able to read the room, as you say, getting a grasp on the Kukoyum concept, it's a very good exercise. It's very helpful when also you're out of the Japanese context. So I'm seeing it here, for example, in France, being in Japan for like 3+ years and having to relation myself with like Japanese in-laws and friends as well. You kind of unintentional or without being very active to it, you start to have a more clear grasp of people's attitudes and what to say, what not to say. So you kind of read the room better. I realized that when I got out of the Japanese context. So I think it's a very helpful and very interesting exercise to better yourself as a person. However, because that's the point I want to get to. Sometimes I wish they could be more like 空気を読むもそうだけど空気を読ませるのも大事. So let the the room be readable, especially I mean when you're close together, when you know each other a little bit better, then you can put in the effort. But if I meet you for the first time, I don't know your values, I don't know your person as a whole. In this case, helping each other would be great. I have an example that really shocked me when I was doing my field work in Takachio. I went drink out. I went to a pub to drink late at night, and I met a guy. I mean, there was a lot of old men, and I was sitting next to one of them, and we start drinking and everything, and then suddenly, out of the blue, the guy said, "What about tomorrow? We go to visit a shrine because it's an interesting shrine. It has some specific qualities to that shrine." I mean, this guy comes out of the blue and I didn't ask particularly that I want to go to see the shrine or something. Nothing in that conversation led up to this guy showing me this shrine. So I thought it was a genuine invitation from this guy that he really wanted me to see this shrine with him. Then, of course, when you're invited, you're a foreigner in Japan and you're try to do things and everything, you never say no. So I accepted, I gladly accepted. Thank you very much. That's very interesting. And then later at the night, another guy says, actually, this guy has a really busy work and he's not in a very good situation right now. So you should have refused his invitation. So the polite and the situational awareness thing to do in that situation was to politely refuse this invitation. And I was like, yeah, sure, no issues, don't worry, I don't need to go there, I'm not that interested to do this. But my question, like, I didn't verbalize it. My question is, if you cannot do something, why go all out of your way to do something? Why do you want to create a situation like this? So, like,
No, yeah.
this is like next level of Kuki or Yomu. How am I supposed to know your personal life to the extent that I have to refuse this polite invitation? Like, I don't know, I have to read your mind?
You can't, and it's insane. Like, because I think that extends into like that example you just gave into Kukyo Yomu, but
Right,
also kind of that honne tatemae kind of thing that we
right,
literally just mentioned before, where there are certain, like, so Japanese is an interesting language. We've established this,
right,
and there are certain phrases that amongst Japanese people, when said, can be understood as one thing or another.
right.
One of the most famous ones is iketara iku,
Mhm.
right?
I won't come.
So
Translated as I
yeah,
won't.
iketara iku literally means if I can go, I'll go. Literally, iketara, if I can go,
Right,
iku, I will go. And so you're thinking, okay, yeah, they might show up. They might be busy, whatever, cool, But it literally means amongst Japanese people, and this is understood, 99, 98 maybe, give them a little bit of 98, 99%, they're not coming. They're not coming. And
thanks,
you just
but
have
no
to know
thanks.
that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And I've invited people to places because I wanted to hang out with them.
Right,
And now they'll hit me with an iketariku. Now in our defense, like this is like JTW days, right?
right,
So uh, we're all college students. I get it. Like, we have homework, this, that, and the other. If you can't make it, that's cool. But after like 4 or 5 times of iketariku, that same phrase, and no one showing up, I'm like, there's
you,
probably something more to this that
you
I'm
pick
not
up a
getting.
pattern.
Everyone's giving right. Everyone's giving the same answer. It's not like, oh yeah, chotto kakunishimasu or to the kento shimasu. It was never. It was
Right,
iketariku, and I'm like, okay. So, come to find out, right? That's what it means. It means I'm not basically not going, and right. This is not really like Marty's example. Isn't really that, because there was no real cues, like you said, that could
right.
that hinted that he was not able to go to the shrine,
Where can I
even
pick them?
though he asked him to go to the crazy. Uh, but you also often see this might be a tatemae kind of thing,
Right,
where you hang out with someone, and I mean it's not only Japan, but again they have a name. It's tatemae. You're at the eki, you're at the station. You hit him with yo Tsukare, I'll see you again. Let's hang out again, and you go your separate ways. A
never
week
see
later,
each other.
let's never see each other again. You might reach out. You might reach out, but and they're the ones who said, "Let's hang out again." Mata sobo ne.
Right,
Oh, mata sobo. And every time you try to, extend the invitation out, chotto isuashi, or
yeah,
chotto muzukashi. You know, everyone has their own way,
right, I agree.
declining, but it's I think it's understood between Japanese people that the mata sobo ne is less of an invitation to actually asobu, to
Right.
actually like meet up and hang out, and more of just a friendly way to end the conversation,
Right.
without seeming like like just trying to be friendly. Yeah, let's
Right.
hang out again. And I mean, we we do that in English.
See
Yeah,
you
man, let's hang out.
later, or
Usually,
something like that.
I mean, yeah, see, like I mean it usually when I say it, but they don't typically mean it. Is the difference here?
Not
You
as
know,
deeply, not as deeply as you may think. Let's say.
yeah, sure. 'Cause, I mean, we both have Japanese friends who
Right.
obviously when they say mata sobo ne, they actually
They
mean
mean
mata
it.
sobo.
Yes.
I think it's usually those people that you meet for it's the first time you've met, you've
Mm-hmm.
hung out, and it's just polite, to be like, oh, mata sobo, it was nice. Instead of even if they didn't have a great time, even if it was trash, oh, mata sobo ne, it's the polite thing to do. They don't want to see you again. They just want
Right.
to say, let's hang out, and you have to be able to
To pick it
see
up.
or
Yes.
realize that
Mm-hmm.
they don't mean that. And I don't know, unless you're from a culture like that, like Japan has a similar culture to Japan. I don't know if you can just get it on the first, like just like without going through it a couple of
It's
times,
it's a
right?
it's a learning as anything. It's a learning curve. The first time you get,
Yeah,
you may face like some difficulties. The more you learn, the more you interact, the more you get used to it. And unfortunately, I think that's about time. So
oh
we have to bring it to an impromptu closure. So yeah, unless we want to keep them watching for 1+ hour. So and also there is
nah,
some editing
we'll,
issues
we'll,
as
we'll,
well. So I think
we'll
we can end it. We can end this episode by saying "Mataso bone."
hey, mata sobo ne.
Bye
And
bye.
actually,
Oh yes.
just one
Oh
thing,
yes.
just to close this out. So I didn't do the haiku. I'm sorry. I've let you guys down.
Uh, you
I've,
drop
I've
the
let you guys
you
down.
drop the ball.
How however however I have a cool word, a cool yojijukugo that I want to share with you guys.
Excellent.
Um and it comes, I'm pretty sure it comes from Zen Buddhism. I have to confirm
Right.
that. Don't quote me on that. I was thinking, obviously I do want to keep improving my haikus,
Right.
but we can like, I know you said you wanted to like do something as well. We can just like share like interesting words or something that we've
Oh, definitely yes.
you know come across in our studies. We're still
Mm-hmm.
both actively studying because we're
Yes.
still mada desu ne,
Madadada ne?
so um but all right, finish us off. Here is the Yojijukugo. It is hyaku shaku kanto, and this is not this is not a super common
Right.
uh Yojijukugo, but it's one of my favorites, and it's a lesson in in not being complacent with where you are, what you've done, and no matter your successes, because it literally, it's written as 100. Shaku is a unit of measurement.
Right. Yes.
I forget how long it is, but it's a unit of measurement. 100 shaku, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then kan is the kanji for pole, fishing pole, sao, and
Right.
to is atama, to. And
Mm.
the image literally is the image of a man, a monk per se, walking on a 100-foot, I'm just gonna say shaku, 100
Right.
shaku long pole. He's reached the end. In it, if you look up shaku shakanto in the dictionary, I think it literally means, not literally, but it means hyaku shakanto. It means the highest state of one's enlightenment, or the highest level that one can attain. So it's just
Right.
some Zen Buddhist things in there, and it's referring like literally, you say you're in a you have a field that you're in, and you've made it. You're at the top.
Right. You're the
There's
best.
nothing more. There's nothing more you can do. You've made it. What next? What do you do now? And this lesson, this is Yoji Juku is saying literally once you've made it to the top, take a step further because there's a continuation of the Yoji Juku,
Right.
and it's Shin Ippo, Shin like Susumu.
And use the
one step.
Susumu, ne?
Yeah, Susumu. So once you've reached the highest level,
Go
keep
beyond.
going is what it's saying. Don't be complacent. Don't rest on your laurels. And this is something that I like to remind myself of, daily,
Right.
because a lot of us Japanese, learners are aiming for the JLPT,
Right.
level 1, level 2, whatever.
Yes.
And once you've gotten level 1, you're like, okay, you've made it. You've done what
It's done.
everyone wants to do. It's done. It's done. You're not done. You've made it to the starting line.
Right.
Is what has happened.
You
I think I
beyond.
mentioned this in the other video.
Yes.
You now understand most Japanese is what N1 signifies. You can understand just about anything in Japanese without any issues.
Right.
Obviously, you don't understand everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's always more that you can learn. Yeah, the lesson here is to always keep moving forward. Even if you've reached the highest level, even if you reach N1, even if you reach Kanken EQ.
Go beyond.
I've not done that, by the way.
Mada.
No, and it's not to say don't, not to be excited.
Right.
You can be happy that you've done it, but don't, you can take what you've learned and teach other people.
Right.
That can be your next step.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's typically what they mean in the Buddhist context. Once you've reached, satori, you've made it. You satota. You can either, or maybe no, not satota. When you become a bodhisattva, right before you get
yes,
right before
uh-huh.
enlightenment, I think, you go out and try to get everyone else up to to get enlightened. That's I think that's like bodhisattva is like the step right before Buddha.
Right.
So obviously you can become the Buddha, I guess, but
I mean,
you basically reached the highest level. Yeah.
You can reach the top and stop reincarnating, or you can keep reincarnating yourself and help others stop reincarnating. That's the thing. So the Buddha is the one that decided to, instead of reaching enlightenment and then being free from like the reincarnation thing, or Bodhisattva, I don't remember, Bodhisattva maybe, and then Buddha, either the best one is the one who refused to stop reincarnating and keeps being reincarnated just to help other people reach the enlightenment.
Yeah. And that's the idea. You've made it. Now you got to give back, or
right.
get reincarnate,
go beyond, yes.
other people. That's the next step, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I think that's the meaning behind it.
That is a very inspiring conclusion, I would say. Excellent.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
I guess I'm coming off from our your Nihongo Jozu desu.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So the monai,
you can always get better. You can always improve.
I agree.
Don't ever stop studying. Gengo Gakushu, as Marty can probably tell you, is a lifelong journey.
Never stops. Four. Yeah.
Yeah, I keep increasing it every time I ask you. 5, 6,
no.
7.
Mada. I think there is a limit to the extent of languages you can really master, and then at some point you just have basic level for other languages.
Yeah. So, I think that's a good place to end it. You guys.
Beautifully said.
That's all I got. And I mean, so next time you can, if you have I know you're still studying for the N1, doing the kanji study things, or maybe not in kanji study, like maybe something you read in the manga, like just something Nihongo related, I guess.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You want to share at the end of the podcast. It doesn't have to be It doesn't
Noted.
even have to be Japanese. It could just be,
A funny thing to
like
share.
advice.
Right.
Anything to share, yeah.
I have a few. I have a
I
few
think that
ones.
there you go. Yeah, there we go. All right. That's all I got for you guys.
Thank you very much, and we say see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Mata sobo ne.
Mata sobo ne.